This is Dr. Gigi Sabat, and you're listening to the Walk With Me podcast. My guest today is the Sisco family. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Such an honor to have both of you here today. Now, I know recently we spoke at the Bust of Faith Move conference, which was such an honor to connect with both of you. Now, can you start off by telling us a little bit more about each and every one of you and the baby on the way?
Well, I am Dr. Ray, and I am a career educator. I can't even say nearly anymore. It's 30 years in ministry. Wow, 30 years in ministry. Um, about almost a year in marriage. And then we have a beautiful bundle of joy who is kicking us right now, but she's due any day now. So it's really a pleasure and it's an esteemed privilege to have met you in Florida and to be part. And then my blushing bride here, who's probably sick of me by now, she is.
I am Bianca Sisco, and I am obviously a lovely wife. I am a mom to a 13-year-old who is my twin. Her name is Chase, and she's currently at track practice. We are brewing a cute little princess named Araya. And so life is really, really amazing now. Not only a mom and a wife, but a CEO. I do own my own marketing firm where I provide global solutions to organizations and brands all over the world. And so I just love where life is right now. Just happy to be a part of this podcast because we have a lot to share.
I love it. Now,
Uh-oh.
you all are newlyweds. You talk about being newlyweds. Talk to us a little bit more about being a newlywed and also your journey as a parent.
Um, so we both been married before, right? And so
That's okay.
this is our second, but our best. And we're a lot more intentional with our time, our honor, and mutual respect because although I may thrive with the extensive history from pastoring to being a presiding prelate, um, a high school counselor, and she's a CEO of her own firm that deals with clients all over the world. So it's not in this newlywed phase, right? It's not about, for me, um, matching wit, it's understanding equal brain matter. To I may be an expert in some areas, and I may have to say, "Hey, tag, you're it. I know nothing about this." And then to be an educator, I've raised other people's kids, and to now have in the household with me a 13-year-old girl. Pray for me, please, people. And a new little girl on the way. Parenting takes on a new lens, especially being the bonus dad to the 13-year-old. So you can imagine there's times where the thought pattern could be, "You're not my dad." But the thing is, you're in the house and I love you like I'm your dad. So I'm going to pull your coattail. But that's just my lens on it. You know, she's smarter than I am anyway.
No. I truly can say that this season of marriage has been really awesome. It's been like a fresh start for me. We both did, yes, come out of, or older marriages that were failing, and to start all over and for me to be able to love again, has been a really exciting journey. Not only have I been learning more about myself, but I've also been learning my spouse because we like to joke around and say that we were sleepless in Seattle for a whole year prior to marriage. And so I was flying back and forth to from Detroit to Phoenix, and so it was like week in Phoenix, week in Detroit, and we just did that for so long. And so it felt more like a vacation, right? And so over time, we had to, intentionally get to know each other, right? Ask the hard questions that, many couples, do. And so now that we are here in the same city and that we've settled down and are preparing for parenthood yet and again, it has been an awesome ride. And so I'm learning how to be a partner, more of a partner. I'm learning to be more submissive, which is almost like a cuss word in many marriages. And, you know, and marriage for us is fun. We make it a point to date. I love that, you know, in the middle of the day, we'll stop and go get lunch at certain restaurants and we'll enjoy each other's company. And sometimes we'll just sit on the couch and watch a Netflix show and I end up falling asleep. But it's been amazing for us and so refreshing. And so not every moment has been easy. As he mentioned, we are a blended family, but we are learning so much in the process, and I'm finding joy in the midst of learning. And so we're just thankful, and it's been a wonderful ride. And yes, we are almost at a year. So
Yeah, August 24th. No, August 31st will be a year. Our original wedding date was August 24th, but we pushed it to August 31st.
We did.
Just a week later, scheduling things. I don't know how to say August, but August 31st anyway will be one successful year of marriage, and it has been a learning curve. And I can say, I guess for the first time, this would probably be the first time she's ever heard me say this.
That's okay.
Because I talk about her behind her back all the time, but never in her face.
That's not okay.
But to take on a man like me, she's done amazing. As a mother, as a friend, as a wife, as sometime a buffering board. She does amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's incredible. You can definitely feel the heart there. Thanks so much, Ray, for sharing that. And both of you, thank you so much for being transparent and talking a little bit more about your past, but now also the present. What message do you have for an individual who may be in fear of maybe going into a new relationship or even marriage if they've been in one previously that didn't work out?
I'd say do the work on you. What we didn't get to say is, for me, it's been, before we got married, it was 15 years of singleness, 15 years of therapy, 15 years of, let's try, something with somebody. And then I see too many red flags. I'm like, you know what, God, if you don't come talk to me, it's never going to happen. I don't care. So after 15 years of a couple failed attempts, 15 years of consistent therapy, consistent self-assessing, when you put in the work, the reward is worth it. It was 15 years for me. It was what,
6 years for me
since, her last marriage. And when you take the time and work on you, I've learned that it wasn't about me pointing blame on other people. It was about me not holding myself accountable. It was about me not saying that I was worth more than what I was accepting, and to not be afraid, because we can't, claim to love this great big God, right? Who is love, and then be afraid of love. One thing that I like to say often is the only success that I could find is keeping God in it. And when God is the center, I like to say in a very deep way, oftentimes, that if God is the nucleus of your relationship, everything will grow and emanate from him. And when you realize that nothing is growing, you can actually save yourself a lot of time by saying, you know what? I think God intended for this to be a business relationship and not what we thought it was going to be. Or I thought this was a nice friendship for the time that it was, but this isn't the purpose goal that I have for myself. Right. So if you're scared, you got to find a way to involve God.
Wow. Thank you so much for talking about your faith in your marriage. Very powerful. Thank you so much. Now let's talk a little bit more about communication. How important is communication in regards to your marriage?
We have those hard conversations.
That's all right. You have to have those tough conversations.
So for those of you that don't know, there is this amazing show on Netflix that I absolutely love, and it's called Love is Blind.
Lord help us.
And Love is Blind. And on the show, you can actually date and see, like, not see the person, but you can only hear the person on the other side of the wall. And so I like to think that our marriage and our relationship started from a place of great communication. He was all the way in Detroit. I was all the way here in Arizona. And when it came to having time to have more conversations, we had more conversations than we could have actual physical time with each other, right? And so it forced us to have conversations that I probably at first wasn't completely comfortable with. I was, at the time that I jumped into our relationship, had just come out of another one where I was so broken. And so in the beginning, it was rough. I had to go back to the drawing board. It was a lot of reprogramming my mind. I had to heal through counseling, as he said, over time. And so having to hear him from a healed place instead of a broken place. And, just listening to things that he's saying and not just what he's doing have been quite the learning experience. And so for us, sometimes, like, just the other day, we just had it happen yesterday. We went to this restaurant and I knew for sure he wanted to talk because he's like, hey, he had just told someone on the social media app that we were getting ready to go to a meeting. And I go, oh, here we go. He's going to chew me up, right? And so we get to the restaurant. He said, look, I know what you meant yesterday, but this is where I'm thinking we need to head direction wise. And these are the things that we need to work on. And I appreciate that about him because he took the space. He turned his phone over upside down so that he couldn't look at his phone. We were in a space where it was just him and I, and we were having conversations that I felt like were going to help us. And the minute we left that table, it was like we left everything there. And so communication for us has been our strong suit. We don't really argue. We've had maybe 2 disagreements, if you will. But we don't argue. We don't go to bed upset. We may take maybe an hour away from each other. He'll go and take a nap when he gets upset. I'll just walk outside with my dog.
You're not supposed to tell that.
I'm telling it. So, we work through the disagreements, the issues head on. And one of the things that I pride ourselves on, or myself and him on, is that you don't wallow in the past. And so whatever happens today, we don't let it affect tomorrow. Whatever happens today, we get over it today. We work through it today, and tomorrow we're going to start afresh. And, just as God has been so gracious to all of us, we kind of practice the same grace with one another. And that for me has been game changing in our marriage. So,
and I live to all that she said so eloquently.
Thank you.
And she says she's not a preacher. Okay. Comprehension is the biggest key. Understanding intellectually what one is trying to convey without the emotion. Because emotion will have you do things. I don't know who he's talking to. I'm a independent. That's emotional response.
Yeah.
A lot of our communication sometimes has to happen when the emotions are not in play. Like she mentioned, when you're pregnant, I've learned that you will say things in a tone that you wouldn't in any other fashion say them. And so I have to go back and say, okay, Ray, what she's saying is do X, Y, and Z. It's not about how she said or what she said. It's not about how she said, it's about what she said. And so comprehension has to be the adhesive to the conversation to promote success.
Wow.
That's
Both
correct.
of you raised a great point in regards to listening and how it intertwines with communication. Very powerful. Thank you both. Now, do you have any last words for the audience?
Last words. I would say regarding family, regarding love, regarding faith, go with God and involve him in everything. The Bible tells us to cast all our cares upon him, for he careth for us. The fact that he says carrot with the ETH means it's perpetual, it's continual. He cares about everything. He cares about the way you style your hair. He cares about the neighborhood you live in. He cares about how you feel after you hit your baby toe on the dresser. But the reason why we don't see God in everything is because we limit him to what we think is important to him. So to experience success and to see the growth, invite God into absolutely everything. That's what I would say.
Absolutely. I think the success of our marriage has been because we've allowed God to not only be the lead voice, the part of our three-strand cord, but he has been the reason why we have been successful thus far. And having prayer, and not only prayer, but a life of submission to God has been important for us. And so we just encourage everyone to not only keep God at the center of your marriage, but to be submitted. And that is just truly what has been a blessing.
Thank you both so much. And again, thank you so much for being transparent and for being a guest on the Walk With Me podcast. I truly appreciate you. Now, where can the audience find both of you?
They really, my name is everything. On Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I'm learning TikTok. Y'all pray for me. But it's really Dr. Ray K. Sisco on everything, even Twitter. And I'm gonna figure out if I'm gonna delete that, but you can find me there, and even on Clubhouse, Dr. Ray K. Sisco, everything.
Awesome. And as for myself, Bianca Sisco on Facebook and on LinkedIn. Be happy to connect with you there. Those two platforms, I would absolutely love to hear from the audience and maybe some thoughts. And we'd love to hear from y'all. So
thank you. Absolutely amazing. And ladies and gentlemen, make sure to check out the Sisco family on all of their social media platforms. And thank you again. God bless you and be safe.
Thank you.